When your strength is exposed, discover God's miraculous portion in transforming morning prayer. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, besieged Jerusalem. Among the captives was Daniel, a youth of noble lineage, his heart aflame with faith. As the refuse of Israel was exiled into the heart of a foreign empire, his spirit clung defiantly to traditions long past. The whispers of Jerusalem's earthy streets beckoned him, a muted symphony of prayers singing to the heavens. Each day, the sun would timidly rise above the golden spires of Babylon, nudging Daniel from his slumber. He would rise early, his heart stirring at the thought of approaching his God. He turned towards the west, where Jerusalem lay, and bowed in fervent prayer. Tears fell upon the earth beneath him, mingling with heartfelt supplications of mercy for his people. These moments of communion were his lifeline, embroidered deeply into the very fabric of his existence, but dark clouds gathered around the king's court. King Darius, perhaps misled by jealous advisers, issued a decree that sent tremors through the hearts of those who dared to remain faithful. For 30 days, no man could petition any god or man except Darius himself. The very thought of treason resounded through the royal halls. Would one dare to defy the king for the sake of the God of Israel? Despite the lingering threat, nothing could quench Daniel's fervent devotion. On the first day of the decree, he knelt by his window, unwavering, allowing the morning light to flood his soul. With resolute courage, he opened the shutters to the view of a city he loved beyond measure. Tears streamed down his face as he pleaded for his people, unyielding in his faith, one voice among many storms that I and the shadows, men of the court, diagrams of deception, observed his every word. With venomous delight, they scurried to Darius, accusing Daniel of treason. He praised to his God, defying your order. They proclaimed. King Darius's heart sank. He held Daniel in high regard, grappling with the weight of the decree he had issued. Yet, the law was now ironclad, sealing Daniel's fate as the sun set over Babylon, draping the capital in darkness. Bound by determination, Daniel was led to the den of lions. The grip of despair tightened around his heart, but he steadied himself, recalling the countless times God had delivered his people. In the depths of night, fear clawed at his spirit, yet a whisper of hope emerged. His eyes, now accustomed to the darkness, caught the glimmer of something unexpected, a rustle among the lions, a breath of divine intervention. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. As Daniel settled into the lioness den, the very creatures meant to be his downfall remained still. In the stillness, the air thickened with divine presence, a sacred promise ensconced in the depths of uncertainty. Surrounded by the growls of the nocturnal beasts, hope dared to blossom as the stars twinkled overhead. What awaited Daniel would soon shatter the darkness and unveil the depths of God's miraculous plan. But as the night deepened, the stillness of the den was pierced by the roars of the lions, echoes of dread weaving into the fabric of Daniel's thoughts. Shadows danced upon the walls, yet his heart remained anchored in faith. In that dark chamber, he closed his eyes and murmured prayers, recalling the sacred promises of his God. Then, amidst the growls, a miracle unfolded. The Lord, who had orchestrated the heavens and the earth, sent his angel, a radiant presence igniting the night with divine light. As the angel approached, there arose a gentle hush over the lions, their ferocity stilled by the holy whisper. In that sacred moment, Daniel felt an overwhelming peace, the assurance that he was not alone in the den of doom, and as the dawn began to break, a light shimmered through the crevices of the stone, a herald of hope. King Darius awoke with an uneasy heart, burdened by the fate of his esteemed servant. Early in the morning, he rushed to the den, his soul wrought with anxiety, and called out in trembling tones, "Daniel, servant of the living God. Has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to deliver you from the lions?" From the depths of despair, the voice of faith answered back, unwavering and bold, O King, live forever. My God has sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, they have not hurt me because I was found innocent in his sight. Nor have I done any wrong before you, O King. Darius, breathless with astonishment, ordered that Daniel be lifted from the den. The king's heart swelled with gratitude as he beheld Daniel, a man untouched by peril. He commanded those who had conspired against him to be thrust into the same den, a swift judgment that echoed the justice of God. Joy erupted in the court of Babylon as Daniel emerged unscathed, for his faithfulness had not gone unrewarded. The proclamation of the king reverberated across the land, to every people, nation, and language that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied to you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God and steadfast forever, his kingdom is one which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall endure to the end. He delivers and rescues, and he works signs and wonders in heaven and on earth. And so, Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian, a testament to the unyielding faithfulness of God, but the story of Daniel was far from over. For as he basked in the light of favor, a vision dawned upon him, a revelation of kingdoms that would rise and fall, of angels waging war in the heavens, and of a future intertwining the fates of nations. What future awaited the faithful remnant of Israel? What hidden plans did the sovereign Lord hold under the fabric of time, waiting to be unveiled? The morning was yet unfolding, and the path of prophecy awaited its moment in the light. In the days that followed Daniel's deliverance, a spirit of reverence settled over the kingdom of Babylon. The eyes of the people turned toward the heavens, seeking the mighty hand that had preserved their servant. Yet, in the stillness of the court, Daniel's heart was burdened with a greater understanding. Visions had taken root deep within him, visions filled with the mysteries of God's sovereign plan. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of crimson and gold, Daniel sought the Lord in fervent prayer. He positioned himself towards Jerusalem, the holy city, pleading for mercy and revelation. O Lord, God of heaven, he cried, great and awesome God, who keeps covenant and mercy for those who love you and keep your commandments, let your ear be attentive and your eyes open to hear the prayer of your servant. Daniel 9 verses 4-5. As he prayed, the weight of the nation's sin lay heavy upon him, and he wept for Israel. He confessed the transgressions of the people, their rebellion against the Almighty, imploring God to restore them according to his promises. For we do not present our supplications before you because of our righteous deeds, but because of your great mercies, he declared. Daniel 9 verse 18. In the midst of this earnest supplication, a vision engulfed him, profound and majestic. An angelic figure, swift as the winds of heaven, approached him, bringing with him the words of encouragement and clarity. O Daniel, man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak to you and stand upright, for I have now been sent to you. Daniel 9 verse 23. With trembling, Daniel rose to his feet, filled with awe at the divine presence. The angel continued, revealing not only the fate of nations but a timeline of events that would unfold in the days to come: the rise of empires, the coming of the Anointed One, and the ultimate establishment of God's everlasting kingdom. 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your holy city, to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy, the angel proclaimed. Daniel 9 verse 24. Daniel's heart soared as he absorbed the magnitude of what was being unveiled. The promises of God stretched beyond the horizon, intertwining time with purpose. The visions bore weight with revelation discerning a future intertwined with suffering yet overflowing with hope and restoration. In the stillness of the evening, as the final rays of light faded, Daniel found himself consumed by the divine orchestration of events. He marveled at the faithfulness of God, who had heard the cries of his people and was writing a story greater than he could comprehend. Yet, amid the joy of revelation, a flicker of uncertainty remained. What would this future hold for his people? Would they heed the warning and turn back to the Lord? As he pondered these things, the angel's voice resonated in the depths of his heart, a harbinger of both caution and promise. The time has not yet come, the fullness of prophecy is still unfolding. Cf. Habakkuk 2 verse 3. And so the dawn approached, heralding yet another day. carrying within it whispers of God's unmatched grace woven into the fabric of history. What further mysteries awaited? What trials would shape the hearts of the faithful? For in every turn of events lies a greater purpose, in each prayer, the promise of God waiting to be revealed. As dawn broke, casting a golden light upon the city of Babylon, Daniel's spirit stirred. The visions of the night pressed upon him like an unyielding tide, filling him with an awe both fearful and reverent. He rose from his place of prayer, his heart aflame with the knowledge of what must come, yet wistful for the future of his people. In the court of the king, men lingered, murmuring amongst themselves, still awed by the miracle that had befallen Daniel in the lion's den. In the shadow of this wonder, jealousy brewed among the magi and governors, their hearts twisting with discontentment. Though they loathed to see a captive exalted, their mouths would not speak ill in the king's presence, yet a thought plagued them: what if we ensnared Daniel in the same way once again? And so, they crafted a cunning scheme. They approached King Darius, feigning loyalty, speaking of the unity required within the empire. "O king, establish a decree that for 30 days no man shall petition any god or man, save for you alone. Let it be a law that cannot be changed, as is the law of the Medes and Persians." Daniel 6 verse 7, Darius, blinded by pride and the flattery of their tongues, agreed. A decree was made, sealed with his ring, a command that forbade the people from turning their hearts toward their God, but when Daniel learned of the edict, his heart remained steadfast. He unflinchingly turned towards Jerusalem to pray, 3 times a day, as was his custom. He knelt down, open to heaven, unashamed of the faith that guided his soul. "O Lord, hear, O Lord, forgive, O Lord, listen and act," he implored, Daniel 9 verse 19. His voice was unwavering, filled with determination. The men who plotted against him observed in the shadows, waiting for the moment of his downfall. When they beheld him engaged in his fervent communion with God, they rushed to the king, their malicious hearts rejoicing in the chaos they crafted. "Daniel persists in disobedience to your decree," they cried. The king, overwhelmed with grief for his loyal servant, realized his folly. Yet, the law was unyielding. Reluctantly, he summoned Daniel. "Is it true that you continue to pray to your God, despite the decree?" he asked, anguish threading his voice. Daniel's response was quiet, yet firm. "O king, I cannot abandon my prayers to the Lord who has delivered me." Daniel 6 verse 16, cast into the lion's den, Daniel faced the unknown, trusting completely in the one who had given him visions and assurances. As he descended into the darkness, God's peace enveloped him, a balm for his soul. The night was long, but within it was a promise: the Lord would shut the mouths of the lions. Daniel 6 verse 22. Meanwhile, King Darius, restless with worry, could not sleep. As the dawn approached, he rushed to the den, heart pounding. "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to deliver you from the lions?" Daniel 6 verse 20. A voice echoed from the depths: "O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, so that they have not hurt me." Daniel 6 verse 22. The king rejoiced, his heart lifted with great gladness. Daniel was returned to him, unharmed and steadfast in faith. The plotters were cast into the den instead, meeting their deserving end. In this miraculous moment, Daniel became a beacon of faith, proof that trust in God is mightier than any earthly command. With humbled heart, the king decreed throughout his realm, "I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel." Daniel 6 verse 26. As the sun rose higher, the light revealed new mercies, the wheels of prophecy were turning, shaping a narrative of divine love and restoration. For God was orchestrating a revelation far beyond mere survival, promising a kingdom without end, a sacred thread known to Daniel, yet growing more profound with each passing moment. In the shadows of this victory, the whispers of the future unveiled more mysteries, truths that would forever echo. For Daniel, and indeed all of God's chosen, the path would not always be marked by ease. The remnant of Israel must be prepared, trials await, and through them, divine purpose unfolds. What monumental shifts lie ahead? As the sun climbed higher in the sky, illuminating the streets of Babylon with its warm embrace, Daniel emerged renewed, his spirit set ablaze by the deliverance he had witnessed. The echoes of God's might enveloped him, and he knew that this moment of triumph was but a mere whisper of the wonders yet to unfold. In the court, Darius convened his high officials, seeking counsel on the matters beyond his rule. Yet, amidst the praises of God proclaimed by the king, the hearts of the governors festered with bitterness. They whispered among themselves, "This Daniel, his faith is swaying the hearts of the people. We must find another way to silence him." The conspirators plotted anew, determined to diminish Daniel's influence. They devised a plan to stir strife among the people, sown through their artifice of deceit. "Let us incite the Jewish exiles," they proposed. "We shall spread fear and confusion, sowing doubt about their loyalty to the kingdom." Meanwhile, Daniel found solace in prayer once more, seeking refuge in his communion with God. "Strengthen me, O Lord, in the face of this new threat," he implored, for he sensed the tides of opposition swelling against him. "Send forth your Spirit, that I may endure." That same day, a proclamation was spread throughout the city, instigating fear and unrest. "A movement is stirring. The Israelites seek to overthrow our kingdom." The unfounded whispers traveled faster than the sunlight, igniting turmoil in the hearts of citizens and rulers alike. Those blinded by jealousy amplified their malicious intentions, aiming to cast Daniel into a deeper darkness than before. As evening descended, faint shadows crept over the city, mirroring the troubles breeding within Darius's heart. The king, fraught with anxiety, summoned Daniel to his chambers. "Beloved servant, I hear rumors that your people do not honor our laws," he said, trembling. "Are they true?" Daniel, with eyes steady and faith unwavering, answered, "O king, we are exiles, yes, but our hearts are anchored in the Lord who reigns above all kingdoms. We honor the decrees of man as far as they align with the will of God." Darius's brow furrowed, the weight of the situation pressing upon him. "I wished only to secure unity, but it seems I have unknowingly stirred dissent. What shall I do?" "Pray, O king," Daniel urged. "For in prayer, we find strength beyond measure. Fear not the deceit that lurks, for the God we serve will act on our behalf." That night, as deep silence settled over Babylon, the hearts of believers turned once more to God. Daniel kneeled, shoulders bowed, and prayed fervently for his people, for strength in the coming days. "O Lord, may your will prevail and your name be glorified," he pleaded. "Deliver us from the hands of the wicked." As he prayed, the heavens stirred. An angel, sent from the throne of grace, bore tidings of what would soon come to pass, a vision of even greater deliverance and the promise of restoration for God's people. While peril loomed, a certainty surged within his heart. "For I am with you always," the voice whispered, "even to the end of the age," Matthew 28 verse 20, and so the night wore on, heavy with tension and pregnant with divine promise. For Daniel, this chapter would mark not just survival, but the unfolding of a grand design. Yet, he knew the dawn would reveal more than what the eye could see, a mystery yet to be uncovered and a greater purpose intertwined with the trials to come. As day broke, the shadows of strife lingered, whispering of an impending confrontation, a divine collision of faith against opposition. Daniel's heart quickened, for he sensed within a stirring beckoning his spirit toward an even greater revelation. What glorious plans await when God intercedes on behalf of his people? He mused, unaware that the answer was fast approaching, heralded by the dawn of a new divine awakening. As the light of dawn pierced the horizon, casting rays of gold across the rooftops of Babylon, Daniel rose with a heart eager for wisdom. The atmosphere was thick with tension, the murmurs among the populace swirled like a tempest, unsettling even the strong foundations of the court. Yet, amid the chaos, his spirit remained steadfast, bolstered by the promise of divine intervention. With renewed purpose, Daniel made his way to his window, opening it to face Jerusalem. He knelt, unashamedly, a posture of worship and trust, and once more surrendered the city to the Lord. "Great and mighty God," he prayed, "you who dwells in the highest heavens, bring forth clarity amidst confusion. Guide my people and reveal the paths of righteousness." Little did he know, as the sun ascended into the firmament, it heralded a gathering of the conspirators, emboldened and intent on their deceitful endeavors. The governors, now conspiring in the shadows, roused their fellow officials to a frenzy. This Daniel, they proclaimed with venomous intent. His prayers are inciting rebellion against our esteemed Darius. Let us bind him with a decree. Their dark counsel found favor with the king, who sought unity but was blind to manipulation lurking beneath his throne. In a moment, he unwittingly sealed Daniel's fate as the heavy scroll of a new law was inscribed, proclaiming, for 30 days, anyone who petitions any god or man except King Darius shall be cast into the den of lions. The decree was hastily signed, and across the city, fear and confusion deepened, as the people were torn between respect for their king and loyalty to the God of Israel. Whispers filled the courts, and among them, the prideful felt justified. Surely, this will silence Daniel, they thought. For who among us dares defy the king? Yet Daniel, brave and assured, remained undeterred. Upon hearing the decree, he returned to his chamber and, as was his custom, opened his window toward the holy city and prayed, 3 times a day, as an offering of faith and defiance against the tyrannical decree. O Lord, he cried out, you are the protector of my soul. I shall not cease to declare your name. His fervent prayers rose like incense before God, filling the heavens with a sweet aroma of faithfulness. It was in this moment of devotion that the conspirators seized their opportunity. They rushed to the king, feigning innocence. O King Darius, they exclaimed, is it true that Daniel, one of the exiles, has defied your command? He prays to his God daily, disregarding your law. Darius felt the weight of his own decree pressing heavily upon him. Anguish filled his heart as he realized the trap laid before him. Is there no way to save Daniel? He thought, his mind racing. But the law of the Medes and Persians could not be altered, and soon the king was left with no more counsel to offer than his silent dismay that as Daniel was led away, bound and marked for the den, the king's voice trembled as he spoke, may your God, whom you serve continually, deliver you. Yet within Daniel, there glimmered a hope that transcended earthly fate. Overhead, the storm clouds gathered, and the heavens stirred. Wonder awaited in the promise that Daniel clung to the assurance that God's plans were more significant than human plots, unfolding towards a salvation unseen. In the quiet whispers of prayer and the tumult of betrayal, the dawn of true deliverance was on the horizon, for indeed, at the heart of this turmoil rested a greater truth. God's sovereign hand was at work, weaving deliverance into the very fabric of despair. What unimaginable rescue awaited Daniel, the faithful servant? The foundations of heaven trembled with anticipation, for it was written, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Jeremiah 29 verse 11. And thus, the stage was set for a revelation beyond measure, as God's purpose began to unfurl in the face of mortal opposition. As the guards escorted Daniel toward the den of lions, darkness enveloped the path ahead, and shadows danced upon the cold stone. The very air seemed heavy with the weight of despair. Yet within Daniel, the light of hope burned brighter. Each step resonated with his unwavering faith, his heart echoing the promises of his God. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, he recalled, drawing strength from the depths of his conviction. The den loomed before him, a mouth gaping wide, ready to swallow the faithful servant. The roar of the lions echoed ominously, a reminder of the fierce trial he was about to face. But Daniel remained unshaken, for he knew the God of Israel was his deliverer. It was not flesh that he feared but faithlessness. With every heartbeat, his prayers coursed through him, intertwined with the very fabric of his being. King Darius, stricken with sorrow, paced the great halls of his palace, plagued by his choice. He could not bear the thought of Daniel meeting his fate amid the beasts. Could not the God of Daniel intervene? He pondered, his mind wrestling against the harsh reality of the law he had enforced. His heart ached for the righteous man whom he had unwittingly condemned. Is there no other path? He cried softly to the empty shadows. Night fell like a heavy curtain over Babylon, and the king could find no comfort in sleep. His thoughts lingered on Daniel's unyielding faith, a lamp that illuminated his own dark despair. Darius soon found himself at the mouth of the lioness' den, yearning for a word from the Almighty. "May your God, whom you serve continually, deliver you," he whispered, a solemn prayer escaping into the silence of the night. Meanwhile, deep within the den, the ferocious roar of the lions faded into hushed whispers. As darkness settled, something divine stirred among the beasts. Taking their rightful place beside Daniel, they lay in restful silence, their primal hunger subdued by an unseen presence. Daniel knelt, his heart full, and prayed once more. "Lord, you are my refuge and fortress, my God, in whom I trust." Psalm 91 verse 2. Morning light broke upon the horizon, casting rays of hope across the land. The king, restless, hastened to the den. His heart pounded in his chest as he approached the cavernous entrance, calling out for Daniel, his voice trembling with fear. "Oh, Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to deliver you from the lions?" From within, a soft yet resolute voice replied, echoing with tranquility, "O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, they have not hurt me." The words reverberated in Darius's ears, filling his spirit with a hope that surged like a river. He commanded the stone to be rolled away, and as it was lifted, light flooded the den. Daniel emerged, unscathed, adorned not with fear but with a testimony of divine faithfulness. The king rejoiced, his heart flushing with gratitude, while the decree of the conspirators lay shattered at his feet. Then Darius, filled with holy reverence and awe of the God whom Daniel served, proclaimed to all, "In every dominion of my kingdom, people must tremble with fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, steadfast forever, his kingdom shall not be destroyed." In that moment, Daniel stood firm, the symbol of unwavering faith amidst trials. Yet even this grand deliverance pointed to a promise not yet fulfilled, a divine plan unfolding across the ages. What greater rescue might await, as God continued to weave the tapestry of his sovereign purpose? An avenue of hope lingered, whispering of things to come, for indeed it is written, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." Ecclesiastes 3 verse 11. The unfolding story of salvation was yet to be revealed. As the sun bathed the city of Babylon in golden light, whispers of wonder traveled through the streets, touching every believer and non-believer alike. The news of Daniel's miraculous deliverance shook the foundations of uncertainty among the people. It spread with the fervor of a wildfire, igniting hearts, and igniting faith. Daniel, resplendent in his deliverance, stood amidst the people gathered around him. As their faces reflected astonishment, he lifted his gaze toward the heavens, praising the God who had saved him. "Blessed be the name of the Lord," he declared, his voice steady and filled with conviction. "For he has set me free from the snares of death and has silenced the mouths of the lions." King Darius, consumed with awe, summoned his princes and governors. As they congregated, fear rippled through their ranks, a fear not of earthly power, but a righteous fear of the living God. "Bring me Daniel," commanded the king, authority infused with urgency. His heart desired to hear more of this God who had shown such mighty strength. When Daniel approached the king, his demeanor was calm, his joy unblemished. Darius, overwhelmed, spoke gently, "Your God is the living God, and in his hand are the keys of life and death. Teach me his ways, for I seek wisdom. The ways of the Lord are not far from us, his statutes bring life." Daniel responded, recalling how the prophet Jeremiah had written, "Call unto me, and I will answer you, and show you great and mighty things which you do not know." Jeremiah 33 verse 3. The path to his heart is through prayer and faithfulness. That very day, a decree was crafted, ordered by Darius, which declared that all should come to know Daniel's God. The corners of Babylon shook with the proclamation of the king, and a promise arose, a promise that God's name would be known across the land. Yet deep in the souls of the conspirators who had plotted against Daniel, unrest brewed. Their hearts hardened in envy and fear, and they conspired once more. "The king's heart is turned," one whispered, "and Daniel's God is exalted. It is time to extinguish this light." Meanwhile, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Daniel returned to his chambers, his heart overflowing with gratitude. He knelt in prayer, giving thanks, his spirit lifted to new heights. The night surrounding him was thick with silence, but within it, the echoes of heavenly promises resounded. In the darkness, we are guided by his light, he prayed fervently, and trusting God with the next chapter of his life. As dawn broke, a messenger, pale and hurried, rushed to deliver an urgent warning to Darius. The conspirators, armed with lies, incited the king against Daniel once more. They implored him, "O king, the decree must be upheld. The one who persists in calling upon his God must be cast out." Darius, torn between his favor for Daniel and the pressure from his court, felt the tug of despair tightening. "What folly is this?" he lamented. "I have witnessed the power of his faith, yet the law demands retribution." Just as tension reached its peak, a voice broke through the silence, a voice wrapped in authority. "The God of Daniel shall guide your path," it heralded. And in that moment, a vision unfolded before Darius, revealing the greater plan set forth since the foundation of the world. What was to follow, none could foretell, yet in the heaviness of that moment, the air was thick with divine expectancy. The clash between good and evil loomed nearer, and an unwavering truth whispered within the hearts of the faithful that God's purposes would not be thwarted. In the unfolding mystery of faith and trials, they sensed a sacred truth: the time is not far when the deliverance of the righteous will serve to unveil the greatest act of love. What might God have prepared in his sovereign plan, through the trials of Daniel, for all the nations? As the sun arose in radiant glory, a new day painted the sky over Babylon, and with it came a deep sense of urgency. King Darius, burdened with dread yet bound by his decree, could hardly dwell on his sleep. The weight of his decision pressed heavily upon his heart, for he had witnessed the undeniable power of Daniel's God and yet felt he must adhere to the law imagined by men. In silence, he paced the marble halls, torn between the loyalty he bore towards the prophet and the whispers of the conspirators who clamored for justice. "Behold, the man who has influenced the heart of the king," they sneered in dark corners, plotting mischief anew. An evil tide rose among them, each plotting to seize the king's favor by delivering Daniel unto despair. Meanwhile, Daniel, undeterred by the hostilities swirling outside his window, arose early to commune with the Almighty once more. He sought solace and clarity in the presence of his God, a refuge where love and mercy intertwined. "I will call upon the Lord, my God, who answers my prayers," he said in heartfelt supplication, recalling David's words, "In my distress, I called upon the Lord, and cried out to my God." Psalm 18 verse 6, the sun began to rise, casting beams of light that danced on his humble abode. Each ray filled him with renewed faith, a cosmic reminder of God's sovereignty. He opened his window towards Jerusalem and prayed, revealing his heart before the Lord, reflecting on the prophecy of the 70 years told by Jeremiah, that those in exile may indeed return. Jeremiah 29 verse 10. Daniel's spirit clung to the remembrance of the covenant made to Israel, a promise of restoration, but as the morning wore on, the conspirators, emboldened by darkness, came swiftly to Darius, demanding justice. "O king, the one who defies your decree continues in rebellion. Let him be brought forth as the laws of Babylon have dictated." Their voices were thunderous, echoing like ominous drums, a call to arms against the light. Darius, with sorrowful eyes, ordered Daniel to be seized, for he believed the kingly mandate must be fulfilled. Yet before the guards could seize him, the sovereign paused, gripped by a dread of the sacred truth that lay in his heart. "Is your God able to deliver you from this trial?" he murmured defeatedly, knowing full well the answer existed in the air around them. Daniel, filled with peace that surpassed understanding, looked resolutely into the king's eyes. "My God, whom I serve continually, will deliver me. He shall send his angels, and I shall not suffer harm," he declared, bold as a lion, knowing no fear. A hush fell over the assembly, and the balanced scales of justice teetered on the precipice of divine intervention. The guards, hesitant now, felt the weight of spirituality mingling with earthly judgment. As Daniel was led away, Darius sought his courage, whispering a prayer of hope to the God whom Daniel so fervently proclaimed. "May your God uncover the truth in this trial," he prayed softly, recognizing the tension binding them all. Shackled and led to the lioness' den, Daniel continued to burn with faith, believing steadfastly in God's delivering hand. As he descended into the depths of darkness, he sensed a suffusion of divine light illuminating him. The God of the heavens held the secrets of deliverance secured. In that sacred moment, the conspirators' gloating worry began to shift, for the winds of destiny howled ominously. Would Daniel's fate serve as testimony to God's unyielding power? Darius, standing over the den, his heart pounding, wondered if perhaps this was the juncture meant to reveal God's deeper, sovereign plan. For it is often within the most dire moments that the unfathomable grace of God unfolds to fiercely confront despair. What would now be revealed through the lion's den, the trial of faith that would awaken nations? As dawn broke over the city of Babylon, the sun's rays pierced the somber veil of night, casting a warm, golden glow upon the earth. Inside the lion's den, Daniel lifted his voice in prayer once more, unwavering and firmly anchored in faith. The lions around him, once fearsome, rested quietly. The very presence of God's angel quelled even the fiercest of creatures. "Great is your faithfulness, O Lord," he murmured, aware that his life, his destiny, and the fate of his people rested in the hands of the Almighty. In the palace above, King Darius awoke with a start, fear pinching at his heart. Memories of his loyal servant flooded back, and a prayer trembled on his lips, a desperate plea for deliverance. "O God of Daniel, can you rescue him?" His fists clenched in anguish, the weight of the decree bearing down on him. With each passing moment, uncertainty coiled tighter within his chest as he hastily summoned his attendants and hurried toward the den. The court was still in hushed anticipation when Darius arrived at the mouth of the den, anxiously calling out, "O, Daniel, servant of the living God. Has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to deliver you from the lions?" Silence reigned for a brief moment, a deafening stillness that accompanied the weight of the king's question. Suddenly, from the dark depths emerged Daniel's voice, buoyant with faith, echoing hope. "O King, live forever. My God sent his angel, and he shut the lions' mouths. They have not hurt me, for I was found innocent in his sight." A wave of relief washed over Darius, and he was filled with exuberance. He ordered the stone to be rolled away. The light flooding the den illuminated the miracle. Daniel emerged, untouched, bounded not by chains of man but liberated by faith, a testament to unfaltering devotion. The spectators gasped at the sight, a living testimony of divine deliverance. "Let it be known throughout my kingdom," Darius proclaimed with fervor, "that in every dominion men must tremble and fear before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God and steadfast forever. His kingdom shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall endure to the end." The words echoed through their hearts, igniting a fire of faith long kindled by Daniel's steadfast witness. But even amidst this glorious celebration, the true purpose of Daniel's tribulation began to unfurl, a divine thread weaving redemption for generations yet to come. With justice meted out, the conspirators, those who sought Daniel's doom, found their end in the den of lions, swallowed by the very fate they sought for another. The justice of God shattered the malicious plans, revealing the sovereignty of his will over the deeds of man. Daniel, renewed in spirit and unmarred by the trials, began to reflect on the revelations he had received, the visions that promised restoration and hope. "O Lord," he prayed, "you have shown me great and mighty things. Your plans are unfolding even now, as I stand before you. May your name be exalted in all the earth." As the weeks passed, Babylon bore witness to a divine transformation. The faith of Daniel kindled hope within the hearts of exiled Israelites. The testimonies of God's power spread beyond the kingdom's walls, igniting a faith that would endure for generations. In the days and years ahead, Daniel continued in prayer, seeking ever-deepening understanding of the mysteries revealed to him. Each dawn brought new revelation, and every sunset closed a chapter filled with the grace of God. The prophet's heart swelled with the sense of a larger narrative, the unfolding story of salvation that would ultimately lead to the coming of the Anointed One, a promise fulfilled not just for Israel, but for all nations. As the heavenly orchestration of events continued, Daniel clung to the truth that though trials may beset, the hand of God abides with his faithful ones, ensuring that the fabric of history weaves together his perfect will. And thus, the saga of Daniel, the faithful servant of the living God, concluded as one of both stark trial and profound hope, emanating the beacon of Divine light etched in the annals of faith for all who would believe in the enduring power of prayer and the miracle of deliverance. Now, dear friends, as you witness God's incredible acts woven through the lives of His faithful, I invite you to respond. You need to subscribe now to stay connected to God's Word and to ensure you never miss a powerful biblical story that could change your life forever. Please, leave a like now to help spread God's Word through the algorithm, so that more souls may hear and experience His faithfulness. Comment below with your spiritual reflections and let us know how this biblical story has impacted your faith journey. Your voice matters in this community. And don't wait even one more second. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth. Let us join together in advancing the kingdom, for the harvest is plentiful.